What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We're back in my other location, okay? I got myself a new neon light that's coming in, so we're gonna replace that one. And I also got a microphone for this location. Unfortunately, we're not gonna be using the microphone yet because it has not arrived, but that ain't stopping us from watching the spooky dookie, baby. So are you guys ready for this? Good. So today, we're gonna be watching the channel called Dr. Gloom. And the video we're about to watch is called Morbid Mysteries, Strangest Places Bodies Were Discovered. It's a little different from what we usually watch, but it's definitely creepy and it is spooky dooky. So, with that being said, are you guys ready? I'm ready. Let's do this. If I messed it up, whatever.
Friday, February 24th, 1989. Japan said its goodbye to the recently deceased emperor. A funeral was held that day, and many workers were granted the day off. A school teacher, who we'll call Anna, was one of the benefits of this time off and spent an extra long weekend with her family off campus. The following Tuesday, she gets back to her faculty housing in the village of Miyakoji near Fukushima. It wasn't until 5 p.m. when something strange catches her eye when she decides to use her toilet. In the small opening, Anna spots a shoe. Startled and confused.
By the way, these toilets in Asia are so fascinating, man. It's probably why they have healthy knees, bro. They use it all the time.
She calls the other teachers over to her, only to then realize there wasn't just a shoe inside, but the body of an entire grown man. The policeman declared the man had already passed. What was strange is the only openings ranged from 8 to 14 inches, so the only options for extracting the body was to destroy the toilet. The man was crouched and face-positioned, facing the hole from the inside. He was also shirtless, clutching a jacket to his chest. The shoe Anna had spotted was placed over his head. Once he was retrieved, due to the filth he had been residing in, he was washed a few times before an autopsy took place. The cause of death was judged to be hypothermia. He had been deceased since Sunday, 2 days before Anna found him. The body was identified as a local man, living just 10 minutes away from Anna's housing. Naoyuki Sugano, 26 years of age, he was well known in the community for his activities in youth association, working as an MC at weddings, or even helping to run a campaign for a village headman's position. The last person who saw him was his father on the holiday that Friday. His father claimed his son told him he was going to be back soon after he had left the family home.
So he shoved himself in the toilet so that he can get pooped on by women. Like, Japan has a lot of perverted content, and it heavily influences their society, okay? Anime, especially, with their hentai antics. They have some crazy fantasy stories with that, man. And I don't even want to get into it, but, like, they just banned underage, like, sexual content for anime because it was deemed as science fiction. However, just recently, and this has been decades this way, man, just recently they decided to shut it down and make it illegal because, obviously,
and that his son behaved as usual. Police determined Sugano entered the toilet out of his own will, trying to peek at Anna's privates. However, the bizarre death of such a well-liked person, and the explanation painting him as a deviant, caused an uproar in the village. More than half of its inhabitants signed a petition requesting police to continue the investigation. Unfortunately, to no avail. Locals theorize possible motives for murder, such as that Sugano and Anna were actually in a secret relationship. Anna was engaged at the time, and Sugano was also friends with the fiancé. Or maybe his death may have been the result of some kind of connection he had to an election campaign in the village. The issue which always comes up with this case is how Sugano could have possibly fit into such an impossibly tight fit. He also had a missing shoe found in the fields, close to where he parked his car.
Okay, so I'm going to draw back my statement just a little bit. because it's true. Like, I mean, why would he risk squeezing himself into such a small space like that? I don't know, man. Very peculiar.
The car also had keys still left inside. Some internet communities have assumed Sugano was a stalker, but that raises the question, wouldn't he know Anna was missing for the holidays? The case has since been officially closed. No one will truly get answers.
The water.
In 2013, 21-year-old Canadian tourist and University of British Columbia student Elisa Lam arrived alone in LA 4 days before she vanished. She had been in daily contact with her family residing in Vancouver, but that suddenly came to an end. At the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles, patrons had reported that water pressure was almost non-existent and that the water coming from the taps had an off taste to it. It was over 2 weeks before anyone from the maintenance staff of the building investigated the cause of the issues. Once an inspection was commenced, the source of the issue was found in one of the 4 water tanks on top of the hotel roof. Floating in the tank was Elisa for as many as 19 days. This tank provided water for bathing and drinking to the residents of the hotel. For months, the bizarre circumstances of...
People were drinking and complaining that it had an awful taste to the water. Can you imagine you were drinking a dead person? Like, oh my god.
Lam's disappearance fueled speculation.
Well, by the way, with this recording here, there's a recent game that came out, and I watched one of these gamers that I really love his content. He plays scary games. It's based on this. It was inspired by this particular actual situation in this scene right here. They reenacted in the game. Such a sick game. I wish I could remember the name right now.
That the University of British Columbia student may have been murdered. These speculations were given more steam due to strange security footage from an elevator in the hotel prior to her disappearance. However, the reason for her odd behavior would be determined as a manic bipolar episode. Her death would be ruled an accidental drowning.
It's crazy how I'm watching this right now just after watching that game. I haven't seen this video. I haven't seen that in like years. And I just watched that guy play the game like 2 days ago. And now I'm watching this. Like, the universe is a very peculiar place, ladies and gentlemen. The universe. Frozen.
A 10-year-old case of Iowa man Larry Eli Murillo Moncada has finally and tragically come to a strange conclusion. His body was discovered at the local no-frills supermarket, wedged behind a refrigerator 10 years after he went missing,
and
is 3 years after the store officially closed. Police say Larry, who was 25 years old at the time of his disappearance, was employed at the supermarket before he went missing. He was first reported missing by his parents November 2009, after they said he became upset and ran out of their home, perhaps due to the medication he was taking. He started to suffer from hallucinations and heard voices in his head. There was a snowstorm at the time. He left without shoes, socks, keys, or even a car and was not scheduled to go to work. Management at No Frills say employees often entered and exited the store, despite not being scheduled for a shift. An autopsy performed showed no signs of trauma, and the Criminal Investigations Department considered the case to be an accidental death. Authorities believe the man went to the No Frills supermarket and climbed on top of the coolers, where he accidentally fell into an 18-inch gap between the cooler and the wall, and would become trapped in between. The situation seemed plausible, as former employees told authorities that it was common for workers to be in the storage space on top of the coolers to chill out. The noise of the freezer units also could have made it difficult to hear any cries for help. It was also mentioned people would say it always smelled terrible around there.
Okay, so this is freaking weird because the Walmart grocery store near the location that I go to, in the particular area near the frozen section, it always smells like rotten, like meat. Like rotten, like... Have you ever had, like, food particles stuck between your teeth or something, and then you floss it, or, like, and it just smells like rotten, or... like that's, I don't know, sometimes you get these things that come out of your tonsils or something, and there's that smell. I can't explain it, but it's like this putrid, horrible smell, okay? And it's been there for years in that particular section. And it's just like, now, I'm seeing this, right? It's just making me think, like, goddamn, bro, did somebody fall between the freezers? Jesus, I watched that before. It was crazy. Dinosaur.
Officers were called to the papier-mâché Stegosaurus statue at nearby town of Barcelona. A father and son noticed that there was something inside the dinosaur and notified authorities. There was a man inside the leg of the statue. Officers had called in firefighters to help cut into it so the body...
I just have to say, these are the worst deaths. These are the most awful ways to die, like absolutely awful. Being strangled, bleeding to death, maybe even being burned alive, I don't think is nothing as bad as dying like these things, okay? I have claustrophobia. If you get burned alive, especially if your face is exposed, the carbon and the flames, you usually become unconscious within like 10 seconds. The pain is like gone. You scream for like 5 seconds and then you're like unconscious, either from the excruciating pain or because the oxygen just runs out around your lungs and you clench or whatever, and you die. Like, you die pretty fast. And I've seen live footages of people being burned alive. It's nothing like the movies where they're screaming for a long time. Like, they literally just catch flames and then they just fall and collapse. It's like instantaneous. These things, God knows how long you're in there. You're sweating. You can't breathe. You're freaking like, you start panicking. Claustrophobia kicks in. You start, oh my God, like, help me. Like, what, and it takes days. And you're in there like freaking out. Especially the first hour, you're like, nah. You probably faint a few times, realizing that you're stuck. Faint again. Wake up, nah, faint again. It's like, I think this is the like nightmare of nightmares. Okay? This is like the worst way to die, in my opinion. Stuck between something.
Removed. It is said the death of the 39-year-old man was not being treated as suspicious, and that the circumstances of this accidental death is that the man was trying to reach for his mobile phone, which he'd somehow dropped inside the statue. It appeared as if he entered the statue head first and couldn't get out. Autopsy results would suggest he had been inside the statue for a couple of days before he was found. According to local media, he had been reported missing by his family a few hours before his body was discovered.
Only a few hours. So he died only after a few hours because he was upside down, so the blood went to his brain, clogged his breathing, and eventually he died from high blood pressure or something, like brain failure from lack of oxygen in the brain. Fuck, that's crazy. I mean, that's not so bad. That's not as bad as dying if you're standing in there and you're stuck. Like, that's brutal. Jesus.
Paulette was 4 years old and born premature at 25 weeks. Doctors believed she wouldn't survive, but she did. They also believed she wouldn't be able to walk or talk. However, with assistance, she could do these things too.
Oh, she's cute. I got scared.
Caring for her was a lot of work. One night, Paulette was put to bed by her mother with strategically placed pillows and tightly tucked blankets to keep her from falling out of bed.
I know it's a little bit off topic, but from the last clip that we were watching, getting stuck between things. Have you guys ever watched those guys who travel and like, go in caves and explore and like go between small little spaces and stuff? Like, I get so much anxiety from those videos, man. I can't watch these people try to squeeze between things. And I've seen some scary movies too where they're trying to escape and they have to go between. Like, I need to pause it. I need to go outside and say, I'm here. Like, how do people do that? And you know how many deaths that happen with these cave explorers? Like, they're crazy, man. These people are crazy. It's one thing to be like a race car driver or like a pilot jet freaking, I don't know, man. That's just absolutely, I don't know. Anyway, let's go back to the video. I apologize.
The next morning, the family's maids went about their business as usual. It wasn't until the sister entered Paulette's room that they saw a large, empty bed. Frantically, they searched for her, looking everywhere, through the closets, in the bathroom. They even lifted the mattresses of the bed up to search in between. The sisters swear that they'd left no stone unturned. They informed the parents that she was gone, though the mother and father claimed to have immediately searched for their daughter. The maids and nannies would later say that this was a lie, recalling that the mother sat at the table calmly drinking her coffee and smoking as usual. Police would finally be involved once the dad's sister took it upon herself to report Paulette as missing. It said that there were 100 officials searching the property. Sniffer dogs were even brought into the search. Investigators determined there was no intruder, no struggle, and that nothing was out of place. But it was also impossible that she had gone anywhere on her own, since she needed assistance to get around. Just a few days after she went missing, the mother opened her home to the media and anyone who had wanted to come inside. The mother sat at the foot of her missing daughter's bed and gave many interviews, even letting a friend of hers sleep in that bed. After more than a week, a very noticeable strong odor was coming from the bedroom.
No, how come the dogs couldn't smell her? How come the dogs couldn't smell her? Like, what?
Police searched again, and this time they finally found her. Paulette had been at the foot of her own bed, trapped in the space between the mattress and the bed frame.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? She was right there. How? This woman didn't clean the bed? This woman didn't... Oh my God.
Police initially announced it to be a homicide. The nannies were absolutely adamant that they had searched in between the mattresses.
She's right there.
And police had watched as the nannies demonstrated how they had made the bed. The coroner said that the child died.
I don't know why I'm so freaking angry right now. Like, I feel so angry right now. How can you not know? Like, you obviously hate your job if you're... Okay, so the nannies were cleaning. They obviously hate their freaking job if they didn't, like, notice when they're tucking the sheets and putting them around.
Died from asphyxia by obstruction of the nasal cavities.
Like, they're tucking the bed and putting the sheet on this side, and they're like, oh, there's something there. Just tuck it harder until it gets...
Thorax abdominal compression. Authorities would then change their minds and rule the passing as an accidental death. Theories around the mysterious case suspected that the mother had killed her child, either by accident or on purpose, and the whole thing was covered up. The father had friends in high places. It was believed he called in favors to get the police to deem it an accident. It doesn't help that the mom suffers from a disorder, leaving her incapable of showing any sort of empathy or emotion.
You can see it in the woman's face in the last video. Not this recent one, if that was her, but... Like, and she's a smoker, and, like, you know, she looks like a friggin' witch. I don't know. I don't want to judge anybody. Like, who am I to judge? Like, who knows, man, you know?
It was reported she claimed that aliens must have abducted Paulette. Then she told her 7-year-old daughter not to talk about her little sister's disappearance because people would think they were guilty of doing something to her. The mother also stated that if she lost Paulette...
Oh, she's so beautiful, man. Like, I always wanted a daughter, like, more than a son. I always, like, that, my little girl, I don't know, man. Like, I'm gonna freaking, like, get emotional. Like, this is, oh my God.
It would be okay, because she still has another daughter. Motivation of foul play is also speculated to be for financial reasons, due to the immense medical resources keeping Paulette in good condition. Others say that there was simply no crime at all, and somehow everyone missed her. Today, the...
You know, everything happens for a reason. I really do believe that. And if both of her daughters were taken from her, it was for a reason. And, you know, if you believe in God or not, you know, God works in mysterious ways. And whether you believe it or not, you know, he knows you more than you know yourself. He knows all things, right? Like the whole thing about him all-knowing. And so, you know, maybe I've always said this to people because people always say, why did you take them from me? Why did you know, and they blame God, right? But I believe that there is an ascension process when you die. And, you know, I believe that there are karmic cycles. I believe that there's reincarnation, and you live multiple lives until you get to the last one, where then you ascend and you become higher, right? You become brighter as a spirit. And I believe personally that if you're dead, if you die at a young age as a child, the innocence stays with you. And so you do not get corrupt by society and all the manipulation and the brainwashing and all the other stuff, right? And so your soul stays in its vibrance, in its light. And so that is the last stage for you to ascend. And so you die premature because you stay innocent, so that you can be directed to a higher cause, like a better place, right? So yeah, that's just my input, you know what I mean? Because people like blame and like get mad, but it's like maybe that's why children die at a young age. It's their last lifetime before they ascend, you know what I mean? But the universe is infinite, so cycles continue. Even when you ascend and you go to the highest point, you then restart and you go back down to the bottom and you continue. That's just how the universe is. It's called infinity for a reason. So anyway, wow, I'm going down, dude. Let's go back to the video. I apologize for this.
Case is completely closed. The mother and father later had her body exhumed. She has since been cremated, further closing the doors of any sort of solid truth.
Wow, that was really good. I'm subscribing to this guy. He's awesome, and make sure you subscribe to him too. I'm gonna leave him down in the description below. Leave a comment, tell me what you think about these crazy clips and this video, and maybe what I said in the video and my opinion on things. And yeah, man, let's get to commenting each other, bro. Like, let's make a community here. I'm the new channel, so please subscribe to me and like the video so other people could be notified and be recommended of my content as well. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for being here, and peace!